All right, here I am at this pool. I already performed a leak detection on it. Did a pressure test on all the plumbing lines. Everything held pressure. Dove the pool and spa. Checked out the light, manger, housing, plaster. Didn't see any leaks. Now the customer's concern was the salt. The salt levels were depleting for some reason. Usually that's an indication that there's a leak somewhere. So I checked everything, didn't find anything. So I set up a bucket test, which is right over here. Now to set up a proper bucket test, you have to mark the water level on the inside. No, it's kind of hard to see. I use the same color as the bucket. And the outside of the bucket. And you let that sit for 24 hours. Come back the next day and see what the water loss is like. Now, if there's any leaks in the pool, then the water level in the pool should drop a whole lot more than the bucket. But if they drop the same, or if the bucket drops more than the pool, then that means there's no leak. It's just due to evaporation. So now, going back to the reason why the salt levels are depleting, it could be caused by this autofill, the faulty autofill that's over there. So the autofill was constantly running the first time I was here. And what that faulty autofill is doing is just constantly introducing fresh water back into the pool. Let's go check it out. See, despite having no water loss, this guy's constantly running. See that? So that's constantly putting fresh water back into the pool, which can deplete the salt water levels. But now you're asking, okay, well, the pool should be overfilling. Well, there are some pools right here where your towel is. There's an area where, I like to call a normal operating level, because right behind this bond beam, a lot of times there's these little tiny separations behind the tile where water will actually permeate through the grout, get into the separations, and leak into the ground. So if you're constantly having fresh water introduced into your pool, it'll constantly permeate through here, through the little separations, leak out into the ground. So you won't have a leak, but it can deplete your salt levels if that's the case. But right now I set up a bucket test for 2 consecutive days, one with the equipment off, the other one with the equipment running and the solar engaged, and both times everything looked good. There's no indication of a leak. So that's the only conclusion that I can think of, is that the faulty autofill, water permeating through the bond beam, leaking out, into the ground through these tiny separations.